everybody. Welcome to Sweden that is grey, 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 grey and greyer. So it was a nice time to sit down and do some videos, and part 3 of my series of when I show my jazz collection. I hope everybody had a nice Halloween, or as here in some parts in Europe, among others here in Sweden, we celebrate All Saints Day, which doesn't mean that we're sitting down and playing Pure Shore and Never Ever and songs from the 90s girl group All Saints. It means that we actually light a candle on the graves of people that we love and that are not among us anymore. For some reason they have put it on the same day as Halloween, or should I say we have taken Halloween to Sweden and put it on the same day as this All Saints Day. So I hope no matter what you celebrate that you had a nice time. Part 3 of this series will focus on a jazz genre that I guess that many of you jazz fans in the vinyl community might be looking forward to. It is the section of more modern jazz, bebop, cool jazz, and some hardbop, one of the genres that have grown the most during the past years. So it's going to be interesting to show this. It's going a little bit slowly, I know, but there are so many, and I don't want this video to be too long actually, so I'm taking it a bit slower and do a little shorter videos than an hour at a time instead. Let's show some real nice bopping jazz records. Well, let's start this huge genre known as cool and bebop. So let's start. This is a compilation though. This is bebop musicians playing Cole Porter songs. We have here one of these with one musician on one side and one on the other, but I couldn't resist it. Milt Jackson, Howard McGee Sextet on one side and Dexter Gordon on the other. This one is a favorite of mine, but I didn't know where to put it. It's not a real compilation as it is with the same band more or less. But the problem is that it is so many kind of musicians. It's no one that is actually the main attraction here, the main musician here. So I put it among the compilations. But it is really great. Anthropology, Paz Navarro, Charlie Parker, and one of my favorites, Lenny Tristano. Going to come back to him later when we're going through the piano records. United Nations, really great record with the Japanese piano star Toshiko, who came to America through Oscar Peterson and played with a lot of greats, but also with her own band. And here she had put together a band with different musicians from all over the world. Bert Dalander or Bert Dale from Sweden. We have Nat Adderley from USA, Rolf Kühn from Germany, John Drew from England, and also René Thomas from Canada. And we also have Bobby Jasper from Germany. So it's really great 50s jazz. Lucky Thompson. This is an album actually that I with songs that I remember from my childhood when a teacher let me copy on a cassette from a record that she had. Ira Sullivan and the Chicago Jazz Quintet, Bird Lives. We have Interaction, Sonny Stitt and Zoot Sims. Here's a really great one, Zoot Sims, Brew Barrymore and Chuck Wayne, SS Cool. And cool is really the word here, cool jazz in as its best. A.K. Salim, not that familiar musician for many, but we have names here. Hank Jones is here, we have Wendell Marshall, and we have Herbie Mann, really great. Sonny Rollins, and Prestige release. Art Pepper plus 11. And we have some Charlie Parker, of course. This is Annie's Orchestra from 1949, and that means also that it is some songs with his string orchestra. Greatest jazz concert ever, and actually, in my opinion, that name is right. This is the famous Cagney Hall concert from 1953 with Parker and Gillespie and Bud Powell, Mingus, and Max Roach. Charlie Parker, One Night in Birdland. This is a very interesting and at the same time pretty sad recording, because we have Fats Navarro here, but this is one of the final recordings that Fats Navarro did. He was very, very ill, and he doesn't play much at all here. This Charlie Parker show, Fats Navarro is too sick actually to play all that much, so it's very, very sad. I think it is, if not the final recording that Fats Navarro did. Here we have a Charlie Parker normal compilation. A Bird at the Sanctix. This is an interesting because it is recorded from someone who had a tape recorder or his own private recording equipment at a jazz club back in the 50s. 1950, when Bird played at Sanctix, and he recorded it, the concert, and I thought to myself, wow, this sounds like an interesting Bird, if anything. What we today would call a bootleg. But it actually is cut. I would have preferred if they actually had the entire concert in full, and not actually cut in between the songs. So I was really hesitating, but then I looked at places on the internet, and it's worth actually pretty much, this album, so I thought that, okay, then I keep it. Jerry Mulligan, we're coming into now, quartet, Paris concert. We have Jerry Mulligan and a concert jazz band, coming back to those later, Verve Records present. Jerry Mulligan meets Johnny Hodges, released on Verve. This is a great one. Jerry Mulligan and Lee Coonish, Revelation, a Blue Note reissue series. Really, really great one. Jerry Mulligan quartet, My Funny Valentine, also double. More of the concert jazz band. This is a live concert from Village Vanguard. Jerry Mulligan Tentet, Walking Shoes, Capitol release. And we have Jerry Mulligan plays Mulligan. This is VCLT from Baraka P Dub. Hello there, Paul. The Sidewinder, Lee Morgan, real Blue Note classic. Wes Montgomery, So Much Guitar. This is actually a little trouble where to put, actually, because Thelonius Monk, of course, I could have put him in the piano side, as he is mentioned as the main attraction for this, but actually he's not playing. He's playing with some musician on trumpet and tenor sax here. So it isn't a really piano album. I can't put it in piano then, right? So I had to put it in the bop section. So it's a problem way to put some musicians, especially pianists, that both have released their own solo material that you want to have as a piano section, and when they're having an entire orchestra. The same goes with this prestige release, The Genius of Thelonius Monk. Thelonius Monk and Sonny Rollins, prestige release, bought just a couple of years ago. Highly recommended. James Moody, Whale, Volume 3, released on Prestige. Modern Jazz Quartet, live 1956, jazz anthology. We have Lil Davis Fugue, and this is Modern Jazz Ensemble, and then we're including Stan Getz, J.J. Johnson, Tony Scott, Lucky Thompson, and a lot of guys. Compositions of John Lewis. And we have this one bought in Stockholm the last time I was there. Hank Mobley and Kenny Clark, Hardbop. Savoy release. Howard McGee, a sadly forgotten trumpet player, and Maggie's Back in Town. And Maggie in this case was the nickname of Howard McGee. And more Howard McGee that I bought in Umeå, Shades of Blue. We have Wayne Mars and Lee Kunitz Quintet and Live at Montmartre Club, Storeville release. A lot of live recordings here. Quincy Jones, Giants of Jazz, Reflection series on Fontana. Doesn't say much which kind of musician it is with, actually, and that made me hesitate on buying this, but it is Quincy Jones and I like Quincy Jones. I thought to myself, why not? I can't resist it. Jazz Workshop Concert. This one is interesting because here we have musicians from all over the world. Take a look at these names. Benny Bailey, Donald Byrd, Idris Suleiman, USA, along with Åke Persson and Eje Thelin from Sweden. And we have Johnny Scott, England. We have from Germany. We have from Switzerland. We have from Denmark, Nils Henning Aast Pedersen. We have from the leader of the big band is from Austria. So really interesting. J and K, J. Johnson and K. Winding on Savoy. Milt Jackson Quintet, also on Savoy Music Disc. Milt Jackson, the first cue, the Savoy sections. We're coming into the pretty large. No, later. This one is. I'm going to reorganize here because this is going to go back to the other albums from Stan Getz. But this is Stan Getz Big Band Bossa Nova with the orchestra conducted by Gary McFarland. Wardell Gray, Shades of Grey. More or less an EP, but I put it here anyway. Here is a real great one, Wardell Gray Memorial Album, Prestige release. When I'm looking through my bebop collection, I realize that I have a whole lot more Prestige releases than I actually thought myself. The label that has grown the most in my collection. Dizzy Gillespie, Dizzy in Paris. We have Dizzy Gillespie, the great Dizzy Gillespie. And we have Dizzy Gillespie at Le Double Six, which is Dizzy Gillespie with a vocal group. That is the Le Double Six, the Double Six, that is a French vocal group. So it's a jazz also in French. Dizzy Gillespie, the Champ, a jazz anthology collection. Now we're coming into, now I can move this one right. Now we're coming into the big section of Stan Getz. Stan Getz at Storyville to begin with. Real great one. Stan Getz on America Records, Carl Chader, Billy Higgins, Scott Lofaro, and others. We have Stan Getz and J.J. Johnson. This one normally is a double LP set. I realized that this is only containing the one with Stan Getz and J.J. Johnson. I was from the beginning hesitating if I wanted to keep this, as this isn't complete, but I was talked into keeping it until I get the proper copy with both, because I still want Stan Getz and J.J. Johnson part, but I want to find it with the Modern Jazz Quartet and Oscar Peterson trio also. Verve, many of these Stan Getz are released on Verve. Focus, Stan Getz, arranged by Eddie Sauter. This is a little more odder Stan Getz album. This one is really great. This is Stan Getz with Swedish musicians, and I don't know why I haven't put it in Swedish among the Swedish albums, because I put James Moody and the record with him and the Swedish musicians in Swedish, among the Swedish. So I don't know why this one is in modern. I guess because I have a whole lot more Stan Getz than I have James Moody. So James Moody fitted well in Sweden. I don't know. But it's a great album nonetheless, a double LP set with Stan Getz and Swedish musicians. Reflections, Stan Getz. This is actually Stan Getz, more of a little easy listening warning, but it is arranged by Lalo Schifrin, which makes it really, really relaxing and fantastic album. Herb Geller Sextet, and I had no idea who Herb Geller was actually, but it looked old, and it contained Conte Condoli, so I realized it is some kind of jazz, so I give it a chance. It was more or less a blind buy, but it was really, really good 50s jazz. Maynard Ferguson and his orchestra, Show Me Wild. Double LP set. We have more Maynard Ferguson. We have Deuce, also double LP set. Riding High. And we're coming to Art Farmer and Benny Golson, Meet the Jazztet. Also a classic. We have Jimmy Forrest and Miles Davis. Now we're coming to, not really yet, Jimmy Forrest and Miles Davis. Live at Burrell, bought in Umeå. Really great live album. Also one who should be put here instead. Art Farmer and the Quincy Jones Orchestra, Last Night When We Were Young. It is more of Art Farmer with strings actually, but it is really, really great. And we have Art Farmer, Modern Art. Bill Evans at the piano. Art Farmer Quartet med Jim Hall. This is a Swedish release. Visa på annorlunda vis. Visa in different way. The Art Farmer Quartet actually plays Swedish folk music in jazz versions. So it's recorded in Stockholm in 1964, and it is these Swedish folk songs that they have put a jazz tone in it, and it's really, really interesting and really great. Now we're coming to a stack of Miles Davis albums. Porgy and Bess, really great one. Birth of the Cool, maybe my absolute favorite. Really, really classic, really great. The Miles Davis Ted Dameron Quintet in Paris Festival International Jazz 1949, bought in Uppsala. No, Gothenburg. Sorry, Gothenburg. Miles Davis in person at the Black Hawk San Francisco, Friday and Saturday nights. Also great live album. Jazz at the Plaza, Miles Davis Sextet. Here also consisting John Coltrane and Cannonball Adderley and Bill Evans. Miles Ahead. Leaving Miles Davis now. Those of you who wants to wonder, but hey, wait a minute, aren't we missing Bitches Brew and something like that? No, that is a little too modern Miles Davis for me. I have some more modern Miles Davis on CD, but free jazz and his avant-garde period, not my style. The Al Coon and Zoot Sims Quintet, You and Me. And we have Donald Byrd, Bird in Hand, on Blue Note. We have Clifford Brown, coming to some great Clifford Brown albums now. Warm, on Fontana. And we have Clifford Brown Quintet, the Amarchy Jazz Series. Double album set, really great. Clifford Brown, who was unique in many ways. From what I heard, he was also a straight-edge guy who didn't take drugs, he didn't drink. Unfortunately, he died also early because of a car accident, I think. Max Roach and Clifford Brown, Dahoud, real classic. And we have Clifford Brown, the Complete Pervs collection. Roach and Brown and Roach Incorporated, and we have Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, Greatest Hits, on Blue Note. And we have the Jazz Messengers at the Café Bohemia Volume 2 and Volume 1, really great hardbop concert. Gene Ammons Story, Gentle Jug, 2 LP set on Prestige. And Gene Ammons Jug Session, the Amarchy Jazz Series, also a double album set. Well, those were my bebop, cool jazz and hardbop albums on vinyl, those that I have listened to. Later in the series I'm going to go to the huge stack of albums that I haven't listened to yet, and there are some more of this genre there. The next time I will do a part of this series, it will be a main focus on piano jazz. But before that, I'm hoping to do another vinyl and CD update also, because I have some really nice, interesting stuff, including also some really old, classic Swedish jazz magazines. So until next time, take care everybody, and so long.